So what if I told you that the miracle you've been praying for is actually not the final step, it's the first? So imagine if the answer to your prayers came and you realized you still had to step forward into the unknown, pitch your story, sell why someone should buy your product or service, and then people would give you money. The miracle simply by itself did not change your life, but selling what the miracle provided did. Well, this is exactly what happened to a widow in the Bible in 2 Kings chapter 4. So what about you? Are you ready to step into uncharted territory, receive your miracle, and sell it? The thing that God has given you, because the miracle in itself, by itself, isn't going to change your life. Are you prepared for that? So let's discuss this starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Let's get this money. Those dollar bills getting this on out. Let's get this money. 1 year, better know I'm on it.
What's cracking, everybody? Money Smart Guy, Matt Sapaula here, hailing to you from Dallas, Texas, and I love this episode. So oftentimes when I go to my workshops and people give me feedback on what they think they can or can't do, and my Lord just changed my life. I've been praying. There's a limitation to what I can do, but the Lord is going to send me a miracle. And next thing you know, I'm asking them questions. I'm like, yo, you realize the miracle's already been sent, that God had already answered your prayer, but you're unwilling to do something about it. Something somehow along the way that's been given them already is already going to change their life, but they refuse to look at it as a blessing because they have to sell it. They expect that that product or service or widget is supposed to change its life. Like, for example, how many believe that YouTube is a blessing to you? Listen, 15, 20 years ago, there's no such thing as YouTube University. 15, 20 years ago, I'm buying courses. By the way, let me go here into my desk. Let me share some courses, okay? What I'm holding in my hand are 2 miracles. I remember getting involved in financial services for the very first time in the early 2000s. Late 1999, I got my life insurance license, but I didn't really get any coaching or training. And for example, I would get these magazines, trade magazines, and I read the magazine because that was my training. It was like access to industry information, to learn financial services, to learn from an insurance or financial advisor that's willing to coach me through the written articles. This is way before blog posts. This is actually magazines. Anyway, I would order the catalog of information. I was there. For example, this is my course on how to conduct a prospect interview and close more sales. As an independent agent, I didn't have a coach. I didn't have a mentor. I learned through this course. Do you know how much this course cost? In 1999, 2000, $1,500, $1,500 for this course, which I believe today would be around $2,500 to $3,000. And this guy absolutely changed my life through his course. His name is Larry Klein. And he'd sell me a bunch of other courses that's on here. The irony, the other course he'd had was another $1,500 per course. So he packaged up his knowledge to help people like myself. He's a MBA, CPA by educational background, to teach our guys, myself, how to conduct a prospect interview. Many different courses in here. How to sell long-term care insurance, how to sell life insurance, how to sell annuities. I'd buy all his courses. This is 1 to 4 courses of $1,500 each. And then I don't have any follow-up. There's no coaching, there's mentoring, there's no follow-up videos, there's no follow-up conference calls. And so I would go into a coaching group for financial advisors and for insurance professionals. As you can see, it's very worn out here. It's an exclusive coaching group, big binder here. Every month I'd fly into Los Angeles to get coached by Ken Unger and Tom Gao. Well, this is 2004. Actually, look at this exclusive coaching group. This would cost me $1,000 per month for a day and a half of me spending time with these gentlemen who's willing to coach me on what I needed to know in terms of how to be a $1 million producer, a self-employed person. So this is a miracle to me that somebody would package up their ideas to help a kid like me with no college education background, with no college degree, buy their courses so I could be successful in my new profession, as I was struggling to make ends meet post-military, post-Marine Corps, as a single father of 3 kids. And these guys with their coursework blessed my life. But guess what I had to do? Not only did I have to learn it, I had to apply it. This was my miracle. But the miracle just sitting on my desk or sitting on my shelf isn't going to change my life. These YouTube videos that you're watching, these courses that you're a part of, isn't going to change your life unless you apply it. Here's the thing. When you're in the worst position, you're actually in the best position. So let's read about this widow in 2 Kings chapter 4. And here's the thing. Her husband left her nothing. She still had to take care of her kids and pay the lifestyle they had created together long now after her husband had passed away. And he was a prophet. He was a man of God. And yet his financial house was left out of order because now she's begging on begging other people how to pay the bills. So let's take a look here in 2 Kings chapter 4. It reads like this. The wife of a man from the company of the prophets cried out to Elisha, your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that he revered the Lord. But now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as his slaves. Elisha replied to her, how can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? Your servant has nothing there at all, she said, except a small jar of olive oil. Well, Elisha said, go around and ask all your neighbors for empty jars. Don't ask for just a few. Then go inside and shut the door behind you and your sons. Pour oil into all the jars, and as each is filled, put it to one side. She left him and shut the door behind her and her sons. They brought the jars to her, and she kept pouring. When all the jars were full, she said to her son, bring me another one. But he replied, there's not a jar left. Then the oil stopped flowing. She went and told the man of God. He said, go, sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what is left. What an amazing story. A couple things here. A few things I noticed here, as I mentioned before. No family financial planning, even if he was a prophet. You'd be surprised how many people have impressive levels of status and success, and their finances are still a mess, especially with inside a church or in celebrity status. It's still a mess behind closed doors. Everybody has some form of financial distress or financial disorder, no matter what level you're at. And that's why you need people around you at all levels to make sure that your finances and your counsel, you're guiding it the right way. By the way, I thought it was shocking here as I was reading the scripture that she has debts and the creditor's coming in not to collect the debt, the money. He was there to collect the boys, the sons. He was about to see, in some countries, that's still very much a sad fact. If you owe somebody money, you can't afford to pay your debts, they take your family away from you. Human trafficking, human slavery. It's evidence right here in the Bible. And the thing here is, second is, I bet she wished she had collected more jars. I bet she wished she knew what miracle is about to happen. Imagine if she knew how many jars she can fill, knowing that this pouring of oil, because that was the miracle, right? That this pouring of oil would not stop as long as she had a empty jar ready to go. By the way, that's preaching to you right now. Like, let the flow of the blessings of Jesus flow. If you stay humble, you stay open, you keep yourself with an empty cup where you're going to be poured in. See, sometimes when people achieve a level of success, status, level of professionalism, they think they can't learn anything anymore. They're walking around with a full cup. Me, myself, and I got alphabet soup behind my last name. I'm a millionaire, da-da-da. Yet they're walking around like they you know what, don't stink, and they can't learn anything from anybody. For me, I'm always willing, I've learned over my life the hard way, that there's always something to be learned by anybody, even kids. Kids be teaching me some things. Even though I'm the parent, even though I'm the adult, 20-year-olds teach me a lot of things. 30-year-olds teach me a lot of things. 80-year-olds teach me a lot of things. Scenarios teach me a lot of things. Animals teach me a lot of things because I'm always conscious of making sure my cup is empty. And going to this next year, going to any new business plan, going to a new endeavor, you're always wanting to empty your cup or have an empty jar ready to be filled. Have an empty notebook ready to take notes in, or meeting a new mentor or coach, or taking training, or going to an event for the very first time, or the second time, or the third time. Constantly take notes. I got notebooks upon notebooks upon notebooks here in my office that I still train on today. I still pull nuggets out from those notes that I still train on to this day, 20 plus years later. And I still go to conferences. Third thing I noticed here with this story, she learned a new skill set pretty quickly, and she didn't look down upon what God commanded her to do. Like, what are you talking about, God? I've never been in sales before. I've been a housekeeper. I've been a housewife. My husband took care of all the money. What do you mean I've got to go not only pour oil and collect jars, but now I got to go sell it? I don't know how to sell. What are the men? Because by the way, in the time and era, is like women were looked down upon. And by the way, in still parts of some of the Middle East and Africa, people are still looked down upon as women. So I can only imagine what a woman would have to go through to sell her goods and services at the marketplace, being a woman, knowing that the world knows that she's a widow. How much potential advantage could she be in taken care of by people that can financially bully her in the marketplace? But no, she didn't look down upon what God commanded her to do. Now, I bet you, as I was mentioning before, she didn't have a background in sales outside of raising her kids, because when you're in the worst position, you're actually in the best position, and you're willing to do whatever it takes to take care of the people that you love and care about. Otherwise, they take away the people that you love and care about, whether it's time, attention, quality experiences. I mean, many of us just went through the holidays. How was the holidays for you? There's reports there that many people spent less during this year, and the flip side said a lot of people spent a lot more during this time of the year. What was your situation? By the way, put it in the comment section below. I spent less during holidays or spent more during the holidays. Please put in the comment section whichever one it is that you did the last 30 days. So when you're looking at a couple data points here, I want to share some data with you on the cost of procrastination or lack of resourcefulness, not being resourceful in your endeavors. Number one, the average person spends over 5 years of their life procrastinating, equating to over $55,000 in lost productivity. This is from Business Insider. So procrastination isn't just delay. It's an expensive choice to not take action. Whether you make a decision or not make a decision, that then lies the decision. So I'd rather you be proactive and be intentional about your decision versus reacting to whatever comes your way if you didn't take action. I remember when I was behind on my bills, I just shoved them to the side thinking that they pay themselves. Procrastination cost me grief, cost me time, had a lot of years of unnecessary phone calls and distracting phone calls. And all the whole time, my self-confidence as a man just kept crumbling. Why? Because two things weren't happening. I wasn't going out inquiring a miracle and doing something about the miracle. I was just hoping somebody would help me out. Nobody's going to help you out when you're broke. That's a sad reality. Nobody's going to help me out when you're broke. And worse, when you're broke, you're expecting people to help you out. The level of entitlement and victimhood when you're broke is crazy if you think that you have no stake in the game to get you out of being a broke type of situation. See, I always say this. There's a difference between being broke and there's a difference between being poor. Big difference. It's all mindset. Being broke is a temporary financial situation. All of us have been broke. Millionaires and billionaires have all been broke at one point. Financially destitute at one point. That is a temporary situation. That could be temporary 30 days, 90 days. It could be temporary for a couple of years, depending on what type of level of indebtedness or brokenness that you're a part. But you can be broke for a temporary situation. But if you have faith, you know that this is a temporary situation. Now, being poor, well, that's a condition of the heart. That's a condition of the spirit. That's a condition of how you see the world. That I'm poor and nobody is here to help me. And man, I wish God would just be on my side. And man, and it's, you're blaming the world. It's everybody else's fault but yours. And in the whole period of time, in that thought process, you have the ability to get yourself out of that situation. Now, I was listening to this guy named Nick Vujicic. He came to our conference one year. Born with no arms, born with no legs. Wow. World-renowned public speaker. And he was telling me a story when he was 19 years old. Think about this. Your child's 19 years old. He got no arms, no legs. And his kid's hungry. He wants to have a bowl of cereal. And he's telling his mom, I can't get the bowl of cereal. And his parents, man, God bless his parents. His parents just put him to the side. Listen, kid, you got to figure this stuff out. You got to figure this stuff out. So the kid's hopping around trying to get a bowl of cereal from the cabinet, from the drawers, from the refrigerator. And next thing you know, he couldn't do it. And he's on his back. Remember, this kid's born with no arms and no legs. He's on his back, crying, weeping, moaning. Mom, I can't do this. I can't do this. She goes, you better suck it up. What, are you going to cry about your situation for the rest of your life? That's your situation. You got to figure this stuff out. What? Like, I'm thinking about me being a father, being a parent in that situation, allowing your kid who's born with no arms, no legs to have the mental fortitude, to have the intestinal fortitude, the spiritual fortitude to allow your kid to fight through that situation, even though he was born with no arms and no legs, to not let his situation be an excuse why he can't feed himself a bowl of cereal. Think about many of us who are sound mind, got all your limbs, you got friends, you got relationships, you have a bad month, you have a bad quarter, you have a bad year, you're set back, things aren't going your way. You just went through a divorce, you went through a business breakup, your business partner ripped you off, a client ripped you off, you're set back financially. What are you gonna do? Oh, I can't. That's being poor, man. Broke, fight through it. This one allows fear to take over. The other part, broke, allows faith to take over. When you're in a situation like that, being a situation procrastination, yeah, it's costing you money and it's an expensive choice. Second data point, research shows that 68% of small businesses fail due to lack of resourcefulness in accessing capital or scaling operations. A lot of entrepreneurs aren't acting on opportunities or get their personal credit squared away so they can get business credit squared away so they can, or get their pitch deck together so they can go out and raise capital because they're not being resourceful. And therefore, 68% of small businesses are failing because of this inability to get off their you-know-what and improve their skill set. Number 3, 80% of people regret not pursuing their dreams earlier in life, citing fear and self-doubt as the biggest barriers. The cost of inaction is a lifetime of looking back and saying, man, I coulda, shoulda, woulda. If you thought the cost of procrastinating and not making the decision and not choosing to win is expensive, wait till you get the bill for regret. And you're 60 years old, you're 70 years old, and you're 80 years old. Martin Luther King, one time he said that the sad part of it is most men die at 25. They just get buried at 65. Meaning a lot of people spend their entire life procrastinating, praying, hoping, waiting for the miracle to come, even though the miracle's right on your desk, right in your phone, right on your social media profile. The easiest way for people today is to connect is in our hands. but yet we're not what? We're connected, but we're not connecting. We just had an event called Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey a few weeks ago. And my outcome for that is to not only give whatever resource I have in terms of wisdom and knowledge and taking our company from scratch, from a one-man operation to a 5,000-man operation, to 10,000-man operation, to helping our company, PHP Agency, and helping Patrick and David sell for $300 million in July of 2022. My contribution to the business community is share what we know about how to do that type of transaction. And that's where we hold these Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey. So it's a mastermind and networking event combined. And when we put people together, the biggest thing I see is people have these areas of excuses or areas of procrastination because they're not connecting with people. And thank God for the event. The outcome of the event is to get people to start connecting. I said, listen, guys, your future business partner might be here. Your future client might be in here. Your future, right? Because you invested to be here. And now we're going to network after we do the mastermind portion. It was about 30, 45 minutes and getting people just acclimated to the business, what we got to share. We do this event once a quarter. And then we pour the whiskey and we lighten up the cigars and we exchange ideas and thoughts and information and making sure that we incorporate those things in the next 30, 60, 90 days to make sure that when we come back to the next Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey event, we have some success stories. So here's some examples of 3 entrepreneurs who stepped out in faith and created more than what they initially set out to do. Check out some of these stories. Number 1, probably one of our favorite stories. You even know his story. Howard Schultz. Who's Howard Schultz? Well, he was the guy that bought Starbucks and he transformed it from a small coffee shop there on Pike Place in Seattle to over 35,000 locations worldwide. Howard Schultz faced rejection from over 200 investors when pitching his idea. Despite this, he stepped out in faith, left his secure job, and persisted in building a brand centered on the coffee house experience. How many guys today say instead of going to get some coffee, you say, let me go get some Starbucks? Well, he changed life. Why? Because he stepped out in faith. Second example, Sarah Blakely. What did she create? Spanx. Sarah Blakely started Spanx with just $5,000 in savings, no formal business training, and countless rejections from manufacturers and investors. She stepped out in faith, knowing her idea of footless pantyhose was unconventional. Through persistence and her belief in the product, Spanx became a $1 billion business, making her the youngest self-made female billionaire. Congratulations, salute, Sarah Blakely. By the way, her husband's pretty badass too as well. You should check him out. Walt Disney, the Walt Disney Company. Walt Disney took a massive leap of faith when he asked for money and he risked everything to create the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the world's full-length animated film. Industry experts ridiculed him, calling it Disney's folly. Despite running out of money and nearly going bankrupt, Disney pushed forward. The film's success laid the foundation for one of the most influential entertainment empires in history. Everything you want is on the other side of pride, ego, and procrastination. Salute to these 3 entrepreneurs who paved the way to show people that these are not just limiting beliefs, but it's BS, bunch of bogus. God's got something planned for you. Not only own it, but execute upon it. So here's 3 things, 3 actionable steps to make sure you overcome doubts, remove procrastination from your life, and take out your step in faith. Number 1, start where you are. This widow in 2 Kings chapter 4 started with the little she had, just a smart jar of oil. That's all she had. Hey boys, go get some jars so we can keep pouring this oil. So inventory what you have. Inventory what's in your house, inventory your credit cards, your finances, inventory things in your closet, things that you may have bought a long time ago that's of value today. Don't wait for perfection. Take a step forward with what you have. I remember taking a step forward doing this inventory. I was absolutely broke, but I know I need to go to a convention to learn how to build my business. It was December. And I looked at my now wife, or actually my now fiance, and we were absolutely broke. And I told Sheena, I said, babe, put the TVs in the trunk, our watches, my DJ equipment. And we went to a pawn shop. And I think I sold about maybe $5,000 to $7,000 worth of DJ equipment, TVs, watches, etc. Guess how much I got paid for the $5,000 to $7,000 of equipment? I got paid like $800, $900. But I took that $800, $900 and bought plane tickets. About those plane tickets to go to a conference, to equip myself with knowledge, to equip myself with relationships that I can execute upon when I get back home, because I just didn't know what I didn't know. But I know that the answers were at this event. So I took out a step in faith. Come back, fast forward, became a millionaire in 3 years. Now, is that typical for everybody? No, because we don't know the level of your execution. We don't know the level of your pain. We don't know the level of your urgency. There's one thing to go to a conference and be there and not do anything when you get back home. There's plenty of people that do that. But I went to this conference with intentionality. It cost me the things I acquired over the years, TVs and DJ equipment and jewelry and watches, and I only got $1,000, $800, $1,000 for it. but I took that for plane tickets. Think about right now the inventory you have. What do you have to inventory? What's collecting dust? That's depreciating in value right now that you need to monetize. That's where you got to look at stuff. Is it an asset or is it just stuff? And we just need to get rid of stuff. Second actionable step, surround yourself with wise counsel. Can't tell you how much my life has changed being around two gentlemen, Patrick Bet-David and his wise counsel, which is Tom Ellsworth. We call him 3 Tommy because Tom Ellsworth took 3 different companies from scratch to exit totaling $1.1 billion. And one of the companies he sold was called Jam That. He sold it to EA Sports. Get in the game, right? That's one of those companies. He jammed at bowling, jammed at this. He sold that gaming company to EA Sports. Cut him a nice fat check. And so he became counsel for Patrick Bet-David. And guess who's Patrick Bet-David's counsel? It was his pastor, Pastor Dudley Rutherford. And guess who Pastor Dudley Rutherford, after mentoring him and coaching him and being a spiritual pastor and counselor, guess who he referred him to? He referred him to Tom Ellsworth, and guess who he referred Patrick to? Me. And when we came over to PHP Agency, we helped blow up the company in a very good, positive way. We helped raise some standards and people a lot more success in their business journey. But surround yourself with wise people. Ask yourself, inventory yourself right now. If there's an inventory to do right now, write down the 5 people you naturally surround yourself with. Socially, maybe at church. Maybe look at the last 5 people you frequently have communicated in Texas. Is it family members? Probably some people are so damn family oriented, they let their family ruin their goals and dreams. Sometimes people are so damn family oriented that you listen to your family more than your own goals and dreams and what God has given in your life. You're so damn family oriented, you've removed God from speaking to you only through the lens and the hearing pieces of your friends and family. Like, you got to do you. Well, man, God inspired me with a dream. You're right. And you try to bounce it off your family. Why? God gave you a dream. It's meant for you to understand, nobody else. And everybody else is going to counsel you out of that dream because it doesn't make sense to them. It makes sense to you, but it doesn't make sense to them. So you got to surround yourself with people who are experiencing or have done what you want to accomplish, and you need to seek counsel and time with them. See, this widow sought advice from Elisha, a man of God. So you need to find a mentor, a coach, or someone who has been there, done that. Then wisdom can shorten your learning curve into a power curve. Think about this real quick. I'm going to share one data point. Due to my mentorship and relationship with Patrick Bet-David, just from a cash, I'm not talking about stock, the other business we have. I'm just talking about one entity, the insurance agency. We built it from an agency starting with 27 people. Right now we have 5,000 agents across the country. We have 8 major offices spanning 2 offices in Memphis. We got Chicago. We got the DMV area with Calverton, Maryland. We got offices around there too as well. We got Orlando, Florida. We got Fort Lauderdale. We got Dallas. We've got Phoenix, Arizona. We got Atlanta. We got offices across the nation because of the coaching and mentorship and guidance and the execution of these miracles through mentors. And these mentors, I asked Damon John one time, do mentors hold their mentees accountable to their counsel? He says, no. I kind of disagreed. Actually, I do disagree with Damon John on this because otherwise you're just rapping. I want to make sure that if somebody takes my counsel and they implement my counsel, that they have success with the counsel. If they don't have success with the counsel, give me feedback so I can give you counsel back to allow that mentorship and that counsel I gave you to manifest itself into success. Because there's one thing that somebody hears from a mentor, you need to 1, 2, 3, and they get back to doing themselves and they do 3, 2, 1. Not in the order that the mentor showed them until the mentor comes in. See, knucklehead, you weren't doing it 1, 2, 3, you're doing 3, 2, 1. So that's why I think mentors should be held accountable to their counsel. Otherwise, they're just rapping. They're just spitballing instead of actually giving you wise counsel. And when they give you wise counsel, guess what happens when you start seeing a different path? It ignites your faith and reduces and eliminates fear when you seek wise counsel. A couple scriptures here in the Bible, Proverbs 11, verse 14. When there is no counsel, the people fail. But in a multitude of counselors, there is safety. Proverbs 15, verse 22 says, plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. Ecclesiastes 4, 9 through 10. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. You see, there's power in community, there's power in mentorship, there's power. And by the way, once you get mentorship, guess what you got to do? You got to give that mentorship that you've learned to somebody else that's wants to level up to the next level. So I always say this, you got to always have somebody pulling you up to the next level. You got to have somebody as your running mate, side by side, you're rocking together. That's your gym bro. And then somebody you got to be pulling up to as well. 3 people that mentorship go around. These 3 folks. Third thing I'd say here, actionable step. Act before you're ready. That's right. Fire, ready, aim. If that makes sense. Faith isn't about having a complete map. It's about moving in obedience. Start that conversation, make that pitch, or invest in that dream, even if fear is whispering in your ear. Trust that God equips those that he calls. I remember me being recruited into financial services industry, which is the industry. By the way, if you Google the industry most likely to make you a millionaire, it is the financial services industry. If you look at the most profitable industry in 2024 based on IBIS, you'll see the most profitable industry is life and annuities in 2024. I don't know about this stuff 24 years ago. Nobody helped me out, coach. There was no Google back. You couldn't Google this type of stuff. And somebody told you it was because they read some form of encyclopedia or some newspaper. It wasn't just easy. You couldn't say, just Google it. It wasn't no such thing in 1999, 2000. And so when I'm being put in a situation of hoping that I'm making the right career decision, the faith aspect wasn't strong with me. There's more fear. Why? No college degree. Why? 2.2 GPA. Why? Just filed bankruptcy. Why? Just filed for divorce. I'm a mess. But one thing led to another and saying, you know what, if I'm going to invest in, I started doing the calculation, I started writing down on paper, started business planning. Like I've always been sharing with you what to do here at the beginning of this video. Do an inventory. So I was doing an inventory of what I had in my life, what I didn't have in my life, and what I need in my life. And I started seeking those that had what I needed to incorporate into my life. So therefore I can have success and get back on my feet. And I realized that the financial services industry, at least for me and many others that we've coached and mentored, it's not the solution for everybody, but for people we coached and mentored, they didn't have to put a lot of capital down. They just had to learn some sales skills. I didn't know any sales skills. I was in the United States Marine. I was a mechanic on the ground and a door gunner in the air. I didn't know anything about sales. Obviously, my sales skills was horrible because I got divorced, lack of communication. By the way, learning sales, this woman had to learn sales. Everybody that you learn from the most is because they're good at sales. The politician that you follow, because you understand them, they're good at sales. The teacher that you learn the most, they're good at sales. The entrepreneur that you buy a product from, they're good at sales. The trainer that you might work out with at the gym, the instructor, they're good at sales. They're good with personality. They're good with human nature. They're charismatic. They learn with empathy and they understand your type of situation. That's sales. It isn't some pushy person trying to push a product or a service down your throat. By the way, today you and I have the opportunity to say no or yes. And when people buy something that they regret, it wasn't because it was a salesman's fault. It's because your fault. You're the one who bought it. By the way, I take accountability every time I buy something. I'm like, what did I buy this for? Man, that was my fault, my bad stewardship. And I find a way to unload it either on eBay or return it or trade it in for exchange for something of equivalent value. But here in some supporting scripture in terms of act before you feel ready. In Hebrews 11, verse 1, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You see, faith requires action even when the outcome isn't visible. And trusting God often means moving forward, and then he puts the pieces, and those pieces then become clear. One of the weirdest things that I was going through my pictures, never thought I'd be in the financial services world, never thought I'd be an insurance license guy, never thought I'd be an entrepreneur. Can't even spell the word until about 2016 without spell check. And I'm looking at who sponsored our basketball team in Chicago when I was growing up. Chicago Park District, Filipino Basketball Association. It said ALW. You know what ALW is today? ALW stands for A.L. Williams. A.L. Williams is a company called Primerica today, publicly traded company, close to $300 per share. Very well-respected company, $8 billion market share, $9 billion market share, solid company. What industry did I find myself in? Financial services with a company called PHP Agency, working with a guy named Patrick David, PBD. Not thinking all along that God had a purpose in my life. See, God's got a purpose in your life. There's been things that God has been put in your life that maybe some of us haven't been seeing. And that's probably what we need is the sense of discernment to see the opportunities that are under our nose. And it may not be in a way that's packaged the way you want it. Like, God, I was paying for a miracle, Lord, for you to pay off all my debt. Yeah, so he blessed you with an opportunity to go in business for yourself. Now you got to go to work, step out in faith, do it to create the income to pay off all your debt. See, that's how God wants to bless you. He's just going to, wait, babe, I logged in and I saw all of our credit card debt gone. That's a miracle. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. What's more likely that God would use, again, I could be wrong. And I want to know what your experience is, what your relationship with God is, because I wrestle with God too. There's a lot of things that God does in my life that I don't agree with. My relationship with God ain't perfect. Why? Welcome to being a human. James 2, verse 17 says, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. I was doing a workshop the other day and this gospel singer was coming. And I said, there's two ways to retire to be financially free. First way is to save for it, 10%, 20%, 30% of your income. Or second way is to build a business to create passive income, royalties, passive income, et cetera, because that's what we're doing. So what income, if you weren't in business for yourself, you weren't a gospel artist, what's a comfortable income for you on a monthly basis? She goes, 1.2 million. Nice. Is that a year or is that a month? She goes, a month. Okay, can I ask you a question? She goes, yeah. Are you making anywhere close to that right now? I know you're a gospel artist and you look like very successful people. Are you making anywhere right now close to $1.2 million a month in income? She goes, no, I just put it out there. That's all on faith. Cool. What's the action step to actually make that reality? Because listen, we serve a God that owns all the cattle on all the hills and all the resources in the world. God can make that happen for you if you have a what? If you have a strategy. So what's your strategy? What's your fun? So I don't got one. I'm put on faith. God's going to provide the way. Faith without action is dead. And that's a laughable part of our faith walk. And I kind of called her out on it. I said, listen, next time you come in and have a $1.2 million aspiration, which I believe you can do, please have the disposition and the attitude of you actually coming with a strategy to get it done. Sometimes we treat God as a 1-800 number, 1-900 number, a text message, without understanding that he's got a process for our lives to earn it. Joshua 1 verse 9 says, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. See, God calls us to step into the unknown with courage, knowing that God's got your back, man, knowing that he'll always be present and faithful. My prayer, my 50th birthday, I made it public, and this is my constant prayer for all of our guys. I said, Lord, please remove from our lives the people that we are not meant to serve. But I ask, dear God, in Jesus' name, to replace them with people that we are meant to serve. And build me a team, God, that they are building a team and an influential campaign to serve the people they are meant to serve, but also remove from them the people that are not meant to serve. So therefore, instead of being affected by distractions, they're now being put in a position of unique ability. And that's what I want. I want to wake up every day fired up to go to my place of business, to wake up every day to make phone calls to my team. And I thank God for the gift of entrepreneurship for us to actually realize that. And for many other entrepreneurs, they've got the opportunity to realize that too as well. Last scripture, Ecclesiastes, whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. So waiting for perfect conditions can lead to inaction. So step out when things feel uncertain or imperfect. So as I wrap up here, final thoughts. God didn't design you to live in fear or settle for less. Now, if he's giving you a miracle, he's giving you a vision, or even an ounce of faith just as big as a mustard seed, your next step is to act on it. Be a wise steward of the little that he's given you. So therefore, if you can take care with the little that he's given you, then you can be entrusted with the most that he can give you. So the question for you is, as we reflect on the story of this widowed woman, what oil is sitting right now? What oil do you have is sitting in your jar waiting to be poured out? It's sitting there. Your miracle is right in front of you, but you're doing nothing with it. The information, the videos, the podcast, the content, you're downloading it, you're learning from it. Are you doing something with it? By the way, if you are doing something with it, put in the comment section below. I am doing something with God's miracle. I am doing something with God's miracle. Put it in the comment section below. And here's the thing too as well. Don't wait for another day. Don't wait for tomorrow. Listen, I can't tell you, being in the insurance business and just being around a lot of people, I can't tell you how many deaths I've experienced in the last 30 days during the holidays. Families, children. It's been a rough last 30 days, but don't wait another day. Don't act like tomorrow's granted or assumed. Every day you have is a holiday. Every day you have is your birthday. Every day you have is Father's Day and Mother's Day. Every day you have is Thanksgiving. Every day you have is Valentine's Day. Every day you have is thankful for America, for the country that you live in. Thankful for your parents. Thankful and grateful for being alive. Don't expect that tomorrow's going to be here. Do it today. So if you have an opportunity to take your miracle, to step out into the marketplace, to go into that boardroom, to pitch your product and services, watch what God can and will do in your life. When you put your faith with action, watch out. It says here in James chapter 2, verse 14, what good is it, my brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such faith save them? That being said, I hope this episode blesses your life and you march off into your plans and goals without procrastination and your desire to acquire new skills, things that you've never done before, that you do. Things that you never experienced before. You say, listen, Gordon, I don't know what's on the other side of this haziness, but I'm walking through it in faith because I've got an action plan. I've got a GPS, and I know where God's taking me right now. And I've got the right people around me and the right information before me. I can't wait to see what God has in store for me. I can't wait to see what God has in store for you. If you can't wait for what God has in store for you, please put in the comment section below. I can't wait for what God has in store for me. That being said, guys, please put your biggest takeaway in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe and make sure you come back for our next episode here of applying faith, finance, entrepreneurship, sales skill set here on the 7 Figure Squad YouTube channel, a channel dedicated to help you think like a millionaire, strategize like a millionaire, so therefore you can become a 7-figure squad cash flow millionaire. From Dallas, Texas, I'm your money smart guy. And until we meet again, continue to live smart, continue to love smart. and be money smart today.